Yeah, so thanks for joining us again. We chatted previously and sort of said, well, let's have another chat and see what we can come up with. Obviously, everyone's on the edge of their seat waiting for the next race to be announced, specifically in South Africa.
Yeah,
But I was doing some research just now, and I see there's a race in Texas this coming weekend. Um,
yeah, exactly.
so it seems to be heading in the right direction, hopefully.
Look, um, how do you answer that?
Yeah.
I think it's great that 70.3 Lubbock, Texas, is happening this weekend. The
Mm.
last Ironman race to happen was Ironman New Zealand at the beginning of March. The same weekend as our cycle tour weekend, and there's been nothing since. And I remember thinking before the lockdown that, oh my goodness, this is going to be a long year. But if you think about it, the time has just flashed by. It's
Yeah.
crazy. Um, Your positive signs, I'm sure you would have seen, and all the triathlon fans and Ironman fans would have seen the Ironman video that came out, I think it was about a week or so ago, sort of hinting at what version 2.0 of Ironman racing would be like, still in the grips of the coronavirus. And that was a very positive video showing that there are real workable plans in place to get back to racing. But
Yeah.
Ironman can have the best plans in the world, or any event organizer for that matter. But it depends on the health authorities. So in the UK, the infections are waning, but Wales announced 10 days ago that Ironman Wales is not happening, even though it's only in September. But then you get talk of in Spain allowing tourists back again, Ironman Barcelona happening at the beginning of October. But then there's now also talks of second waves. Israel's preparing for a second wave. Europe's preparing for second waves. Western Cape's about to go into its peak. I don't know what to believe anymore.
Yeah, no, it is. Do you, like you say, we're in the hands of the health authorities, but I suppose we're clinging on to people like you to sort of give us some glimmer of hope that things are in process, things are being planned behind the scenes, and that
Big
hopefully,
time.
yeah, we'll be back
Big time.
racing
I mean, I
again.
can tell you, so my wife works full-time for Ironman South Africa. And she's just had her staff meeting. They have a staff meeting every Monday at 9, every Thursday at 9. Um, and they're working flat box for, Ironman African Champs in November.
Yeah,
They're going full on. There's no even slight hesitation that maybe the Eastern Cape government, maybe the South African health authorities go, no, not happening. You know what I mean?
yeah,
So they're working flat out. A lot of my colleagues all across Europe, specifically Southern Europe, so you're looking at Italy, France, Spain, they are working flat out for September, October, November races.
yeah,
I got told that there's a couple of races that I'm scheduled for in August, late August, that at the end of this month, so next week, Tuesday, we'll know definitively whether they're happening or not. And these are regional directors who are very, very bullish that these events are going to happen. They'll happen slightly differently. There'll be smaller fields because they're going to happen within a restriction placed on them by government authorities saying X number of participants. And then I presented to this COO of Ironman EMEA, so the chief operating officer for Ironman Europe, Middle East, and Africa. I presented last week, Tuesday, how I believe we can still deliver to the athlete and to the spectator an amazing experience despite the social distancing that's going to be put in place. So there's a huge amount of positivity. But strangely enough, coming with that positivity, I'm feeling anxiety because I kind of resigned myself to the fact that I probably was not going to work this year.
yeah,
And now I'm like, how am I going to get to work? And do I have to self-isolate for 2 weeks when I get there? And oh
yeah,
my goodness, how much will that cost at €100 a day for a hotel room? So,
yeah,
gee, it's a roller coaster, let me
yeah.
tell you.
Let's delve into that a little bit. How do you, what was in your presentation, if you're allowed to sort of say, how would you deliver a world-class athlete experience, and how would you chop the numbers of the participants?
So I think what's happening is there's a natural attrition already, with Ironman offering deferrals. There's that natural attrition with athletes saying, you know what, I'm going to wait until 2021.
Yeah.
I'm tired of the uncertainty, and it's demotivating me. How hard shouldn't I train, and can I travel, and will I have to self-isolate for 2 weeks beforehand, depending on what country I come from or what country I go to. So there's that natural attrition happening already.
Okay.
Ironman told me that they're seeing that in the numbers in terms of the number of deferrals. So the smaller fields will happen naturally, I think. In terms of delivering the athlete experience, I think one of the things that Ironman is amazing at is that huge sense of occasion and wonderful production that happens around the event. You know, the great expos, even, you know, going to registration is an experience with all these excited volunteers welcoming you. The welcome banquet. I mean, just think of P in that beautiful venue at the Boardwalk Casino and Hotel. And, you know, there are not many Ironman races around the world where you get food on a real plate with a real knife and a real fork and real glasses. And this is one of them. And it's a great occasion. And the big screen and the videos we play and then that nervous energy of the race briefing, all of us crammed into that room, you know. So all these things are part of the experience, but a lot of these things will probably not be allowed to happen as we know them under the new regulations. So then there's talks of every athlete getting like a 20% discount voucher, XYZ venues in and around the race village. I'm using my radio and TV expertise, my broadcast expertise, which is my history where I come from, to think of how can we take what we do live, in person, face to face, but actually bring it into the pockets of people potentially, you know? So recording a welcome banquet with all the nation's flags, with incredible interviews of pro athletes as well as age groupers, and phenomenal footage of years gone by, just to get that excitement going again. And it'll be broadcast at a specific time, and you can watch it on your device or possibly in all the race hotels as well, and in the venues that you're getting that discount coupon to go and have your meal with your friends and family and fellow athletes. So that's stuff we're thinking of. If there's going to be no expo, then we're talking about creating expo radio. So a live stream Ironman radio station that will run all week. It'll showcase sponsors. It'll showcase great advice from the sponsors. It'll showcase all the people who might have exhibited before, who we will then interview on this radio station and still impart their knowledge and their advice and hints on how to use their products. And then that expo radio on race day becomes race day radio, and you can hear it at all the aid stations, and spectators all around the venue will be able to hear it. So these are some of the ideas that I'm trying to use my other experience from my previous life and bring it into this life and create this hybrid to still have great music, great interviews, great excitement, great energy, but delivered in a slightly more remote way to facilitate the social distancing.
Yeah, which I think, you know, the world of podcasts, I mean, I don't know when, you know, that sort of came into fruition, but, you know, that's sort of being able to absorb media when it suits you, as opposed to having to attend a live, you know, broadcast of it. So if you miss something on the radio, you know, that moment in time is gone. Where now with the recording of podcasts, you know, you can listen to a show, you know, the next day, the day after, which
as often as you want,
and multiple times, which does definitely, I think, creates a greater footprint, especially for sponsors and brands that want to get involved. You know, they're not. It's not a once-off. Even when the event is over, people can still be absorbing their brand post the event, which be a good thing.
So the stuff we're talking about doing, stuff that I want to introduce, is essentially taking all the awesome stuff that we currently do live, eyeball to eyeball with the athlete, eyeball to eyeball with the spectators, eyeball to eyeball with the stakeholders like sponsors and exhibitors and volunteers. We do that, but we basically do something we should never do in sport, which is pump it full of steroids and take it to another level. And in this case, it's totally legitimate. And I think what will happen is we'll create this hybrid, which will be sort of a finger in the dike whilst we're still in the grips of the COVID-19 coronavirus. But then when we get back to when we can relax the social distancing, we're not going to take that away. So we're going to do what we always did, plus this. And if you think about it, it makes it even better. Because like you say, we can reach more people more of the time. Having done that in various versions before, and doing what I do, which is loving to be face-to-face with athletes, eyeball to eyeball, heart to heart, in a way where you feel the energy, where you feel the goosebumps, you can see the goosebumps. Nothing will ever replace the power of live. Nothing will ever replace that energy that you get, that sense of authenticity, and the fact that somebody actually cares. Nothing will ever replace that. So I always believe that doing a race briefing on stage, looking the athlete in the eye, is way more effective than having a recorded version that is rolling and that you can view when you feel like it. Because I see people, they're viewing the briefing online, and then they're quickly on their phone, and then they listen again, and then they chat to their kid. Whereas in the venue, you have their undivided attention. So I think in the short term, this is the right way to go. In the long run, we will do live. It'll be filmed, and it'll be available afterwards again for people to access again. Or if somebody missed the race briefing for whatever reason, they can access it again. From a race day perspective, the way I see it going is I see us using live stream video. I see us having cameras out on the course, following the leaders, but also age groupers. And then what we do is up until let's say, the top 3 women is over the finish line, we kind of tend to focus on the pro racing, and we're commentating that live on the live stream. So pretty much people are going to be watching you and I right now. That's going to be their environment. But then people on site, they can hear it over the PA, they can see it on the big screen. But once the pros are over the finish line, very similar to what Ironman African champs have done in the past with the Supersport coverage, we then focus purely on the age groupers, which pretty much no other race in the world does properly. I think we do it extremely well here. And there's always ways to do it better. But then what we can also do is we can do video on demand. So we could have cameras placed out on the course at, let's say, aid stations where we know we have timing mats, and you are watching the track, and Max is about to go through kilometer 21.1 in the next 5 minutes. You push that button on your screen, and you see Max go through that aid stage.
That'll be
that's something you could never do before, and I think that's good. And that's why I think we even touched on this before, how the virus is forcing us to innovate. And there will be innovations, and it will be for the benefit of all. We just have to take the pain that's coming with it now, in terms of we can't do all these things we love.
No, and I think, like you say, we could hopefully be a lot better for it. And I really, I like the sound of the positivity that November will continue. I was looking at the races coming up, and I see sort of 6th of September, that weekend, 5th and 6th of September, there must be 30 plus Ironman 70.3 and Ironman events planned, and you can enter online for them. So it really does seem like a positive position.
So the athletes, we know, I get to hear Andrew Messick's addresses once in a while. Obviously, president and CEO. I get to hear Stefan Pechnik, who's the CEO of Ironman EMEA. And I, unfortunately, despite being a freelance contractor, Ironman very much view me as part of the family. And once in a while, they just phone me and they check in with me, which is fantastic. Are you okay? Yeah. Are you coping? Do we need to advance you some funds on your 2021 contract? This is... Yeah. As a matter of fact, when I got that phone call the other day, I was overwhelmed with emotion, because that's not something I expected. It's over and above and way beyond anything that they owe me or should do for me. Yeah. But that is the real Ironman that very few people get to see, and that's why sometimes I bite my tongue big time when I see the pounding Ironman takes on social media for various reasons. But that's for another interview.
Part 3.
It is hugely positive, and I'm told that the athletes are desperate to race. I mean, we want to race. This is what we love, right? And now even more so when health is priority number one. A wonderful way to stay healthy is to stay fit. A wonderful way to test your fitness is to race. So, and having a goal and having a race day in mind keeps you motivated, right? So athletes want to race. And what I've seen and what we've seen with the virtual racing, I mean, there are There are people doing Ironman branded virtual races who would never have considered doing an Ironman race before because maybe they were scared of the swim, or maybe the distances intimidate them doing it all in one. Now they can break it up over 2 to 3 days, and they can do it on their own first and not be embarrassed because they're last or they don't have the right kit or they don't look the part. And so even that is bringing a huge amount more interest to Ironman racing. And when I say Ironman, I mean 51, 50, 70.3 and the full distance. And it's bringing more excitement and more attention to, when will we open up again and when will we race? And that's what makes this weekend so significant. That in Texas, and I just read now in the New York Times, they've had their biggest numbers of daily infections this past week ever. So they're still on the up. But somehow they've found a way, and Ironman has convinced them that Ironman's new way of racing is safe. They're going to race this weekend. And so that's good. And I think the world will be watching with interest. But you talk about the September date. Yeah, for sure. First weekend in September is when pretty much all of Europe, all of North America, and pretty much all of Europe, all of North America will be racing. And there's talk in Asia Pac of, Australia, New Zealand, Asia, sort of Philippines, Malaysia, that they're going to be racing again, late September, October, November as well. So it's very, very positive. And what we all need to do is we need to play our part. We need to make sure we wash our hands, we sanitize, we keep the social distance for now, because the more we sacrifice now, the sooner we get to do what we love so much later.
Yeah. No, well, I'll keep training then, and hope to be on Hobie Beach on the 15th of November.
Please, don't we all?
It's kept me getting up in the mornings, but I'm hoping, I really hope that happens. But Paul, thank you for your time again. It's always great catching up. And maybe we keep this going. Let's let a couple months pass and see how things develop in our country and in other countries. Get a couple of these races underway. Maybe we touch base again and give people hope and a bit of inspiration to keep training.
Yeah, any time, you want to do it every couple of weeks, whatever. I'm all good. I love talking Ironman. I love the sport. Yeah. I love the athletes. I love everything around it, and it's what keeps me going. It's what motivates me. It's what keeps me positive. Yeah. And so I love to talk about it. I love to share. I feel for all the Gauteng athletes, how you do it through winter and the cold. I haven't got a clue, but at least you have sunshine. It only gets light here at like 8 in the morning, okay, and it's dark again at 6. So feel for us training in the darkness, but for everybody in Gauteng, I don't know if you can see outside, but it's 19 degrees Celsius. Yeah. There's no wind.
I can chop that out.
It's beautiful, and guess what? We can do whatever we want until 6 o'clock this evening. Be safe out there. Stay positive. Share the good. Keep fighting the good fight, and we will all be feeling the sand between our toes sometime soon, and the nervous butterflies in our stomach just before the cannon fires. We will be racing again.
Amen. Thank you, Paul.